Hi, welcome to Old Guys Gentlemen Flex Fountain Pens. This is episode number 22, and today what I'm going to be doing is reviewing a tiny little pen. It's a Waterman's Patricia pen with a onyx design. It's kind of pretty. It doesn't really get me excited. What got me excited about this pen, I was concerned about the size. I mean, look at how big this thing is. I mean, the diameter is not too bad. It's about 1 centimeter at the barrel, but around 0.7 down here. But if I had to, I could write like this, but I wouldn't want to do it for very long. Etc. But posted, it's not too bad. I mean, this particular length is uncapped. It's 10.1 centimeters. With the cap, it's more respectable 14 centimeters. And that's a good, to me, that's a good balance of a pen, good length. I wish this was a little bit thicker down here. I end up handling it more by the threads when I write. And I don't think I want to be writing really long letters with this. But again, back to the nib. What's kind of special about this nib is it is a number 2 nib. You can't see it, but it is a number 2. And there's no special markings on it, but look at the length from the shoulder to the tip. I call that Tine Length, and I think that is one of the main factors, not the only factor, but one of the main factors in the degree of flex in a pen. And that length from here to there is about 11 millimeters, which is the longest number 2 nib that I've got of all my pens, and they all flex. The tip is also extremely small. That can make about a 0.1 millimeter line, and it spreads to about 2 meters plus, although I wouldn't go beyond that. The usable range is right in here. See, when it's capped, it's 10.7 centimeters. And some of the stuff that I like on it the best, and I'll write a little bit with it here in a bit, it's the flexiest nib I've ever had. I guess I can compare it to another nib, another small pen. This is the ladies' 100-year pen. It's a really nice pen. They're both number 2s. And you can see it looks not only quite a bit thinner in cross-section, but the length is quite a bit longer. So I had heard of nibs that Waterman makes that they call artist nibs, and they don't really mark them, but I think they were special order from what I've read, and extra long, extra flexible, and this is indeed the flexiest that I've ever had. The guy I bought it from was a seller in Australia, and I think he said he used the scale that, I can't remember the name of the guy, but I'll post it, who actually has like a numbered scale. And 90 to 100 is called a wet noodle. And he rated this something about a 93. And it is indeed the flexiest nib that I've got. It's also about the finest nib. The lines that can be made here are just really fine. And yet you can do quite a bit of flexing, as you saw in that earlier picture. And there's hardly any pressure at all. The tip is so tight, or so small, that you really have to be careful when you're drawing, different different letters. It's a pleasure to write with. If I saw that one, let's do. It's my favorite Spencerian letter. I'm slowly but surely. Oh no, railroading. Let's do it again. This is my favorite Spencerian pen or letter. I don't know if you can see, but it's really responsive. And I can't do this as good as some people can, but as soon as I let up, it comes back. This is indicative of a non-steady hand. So, I don't know if I finished the other story. So there are some nibs that were made special order, which are called artist nibs. I talked to some people who had suggested that it was a calligraphy pen, but I'd never heard of that designation for a fountain pen before, for a Waterman fountain pen, anyhow. Usually you hear that with respect to like dip pens. But it is the flexiest, finest, with really nice line variation pen. So I liked all that. Although it's not, stunning color, to me this is a stunning pen. This is I think this is a Maxima Vacuumatic, Parker Vacuumatic. It also writes really well. It's a flex pen. And this Waterman Ladies 100-year pen, I don't know if this is a new end that somebody did at some point, but it blends in just like its original material. But it's a nice deep blue, and again, it writes really well, very thin point and very flexy. I like showing off my pens. So it looks good, not as good as some of the others, but it's got a nice look to it. This was made as a ladies' pen, but interestingly enough, this kind of clip is like perfect for military use. During World War II, they said you really couldn't have pens that extend outside of a pocket. And there's a flap that comes over on military pockets that would cover a portion of the nib, but they didn't like this little bit extra coming out. Well, this one would work fine in uniform. And so even though it was ladies' pen, I understand it was used a lot by people in the military. Things that are kind of in between, I wish it wasn't that way. It's not really bad, but it is pretty small. This is kind of ridiculous to write like this. I wouldn't want to do that very long at all. Capped, it's okay. Not great, but okay. And the section's a little bit too small, so I think that would get tiring on the fingers for a while. I mentioned the funny-looking pocket clip, but that's okay. Generally speaking, I carry these. I don't carry these in my pocket. In fact, the only pen I carry in my pocket is one that can get beat up, which is this Karas K pen. By the way, I got an ink version of this, a little bit larger size, that I'm sending out to somebody to be ground for Spencerian. So that'll be kind of interesting when that comes back. But it's aluminum body and it can get beat up, and so those are like my everyday carry pens. For this kind of pen, I'll bring with me or use on a trip, but then I'll either have specific cases for it that protect it, so it doesn't really matter if there's a clip on there or not. The other thing is that the nib is very delicate. Like if you're printing stuff, you can hear a little bit of that scratching. So, if for everyday writing, I'm not really paying attention to what I'm doing. I'll write fairly quickly. And it does tend to get hung up or stuck. Now I could smooth that away, but I don't want to lose the thin lines, and so I'm not going to do anything with it. Maybe after I use it for a while, it'll become smoother. So I think that's it for this. This is definitely a keeper. It's one of my more exciting kind of nibs in terms of performance. And hope you got some value out of that. Until next time, goodbye.